U.S. intelligence that North Korea has successfully developed technology to fire nuclear-tipped intercontinental missiles, which prompted U.S. President Donald Trump to threaten fire and fury on Pyongyang, will likely lead to enhanced joint military operations by the U.S. and its allies in the region, analysts said. The Washington Post cited a confidential assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency that says North Korea crossed a key threshold on the path to becoming a full-fledged nuclear power with its ability to make miniaturized nuclear warheads. The new assessment follows a separate U.S. government report estimating that Pyongyang possesses up to 60 nuclear weapons. The IC intelligence community assesses North Korea has produced nuclear weapons for ballistic missile delivery, to include delivery by ICBM-class missiles, the DIA report said, according to the Washington Post. It's likely that there will be more visible military components of a response that will be generated by this kind of development. There will be people advocating for military response measures, said Scott Snyder, a senior fellow for Korea Studies at the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations. Chinese media attacks U.S. arrogance over North Korea. Such a response would include more overflights of nuclear-capable aircraft, probably redeployment of additional forces in the region, and some kind of enhanced naval presence in Northeast Asia involving the U.S., South Korea and Japan. I don't see American politicians will be able to accept North Korea as a nuclear power even if defense strategists recognize that the U.S. had been subjected to nuclear threats from China and the former Soviet Union for decades, Snyder added. It's a political problem with such profound implications for American public perception. Comments by Trump shortly after the Washington Post report underscored the political reaction. Trump lashed out at North Korea during a briefing from his golf course in New Jersey, saying further military provocations by North Korea would be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. Kim Jong-un has been very threatening beyond a normal state, and, as I said, they will be met with fire, fury and, frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. Tension over North Korea's nuclear capability had already risen to new heights after the United Nations Security Council unanimously passed a resolution over the weekend to expand sanctions aimed at cutting North Korea's ability to fund its nuclear weapons program. Trump calls North Korea a problem and a menace. The new resolution prohibits UN member states from buying coal, iron ore, and other key commodities from North Korea, a move that's meant to cut the country's export revenue by $1 billion annually, according to the Security Council members. Few expect the Security Council's united front to halt further progress by North Korea in its weapons program. The sanctions would narrow the prospects for the program, but I don't think they would eliminate it, Snyder said. I have my doubts about the will and capacity of China to implement the sanctions fully, primarily because there will always be shadowy business people willing to be paid for the enhanced risk that they'd be taking by trying to evade the enforcement regime. Richard Bush, director for East Asia Policy Studies at the Washington-based Brookings Institution, agreed that sanctions won't completely halt North Korea's nuclear ambitions, even with China's government more engaged, because the weapons program is Pyongyang's highest priority. However, Bush held out the possibility that China might be willing to cooperate more closely with the U.S., South Korea and Japan. North Korea's nuclear weapons capacity affects China's security as much as it does anyone else's, Bush said. There's a crying need for more communication between the U.S. and the Chinese on this. As the national security threat grows, the potential grows that China will see the need to communicate and coordinate more closely. North Korea says nuclear and ballistic missile tests not up for negotiation despite Asia-Pacific ministers' grave concern. Whatever the response, both analysts expect more provocation by North Korea if the U.S. intelligence turns out to be true. North Korea's main mechanism for shaping the environment is to continue to test, Snyder said. The problem is that it's going to be more emboldened by the idea that they're closer to their objectives and that they can induce U.S. acquiescence to the idea of a nuclear North Korea. What we should be most concerned about isn't the day they get the capability to hit U.S. cities with nuclear missiles, said Bush. It's more the day they use it to destabilize the situation on the Korean peninsula through conventional means and psychological means. Bush cited a possible artillery barrage against a South Korean island as an example. They've done that before, but they'll be emboldened to be more reckless.